A cold fog crept through London's veins. It was the autumn of 1605. The air was thick with mistrust. The city slept under a blanket of damp and quiet, but in the shadows, men were awake. They moved with purpose. Their footsteps were soft on the wet cobblestones. They were ghosts in their own city. They had a secret, a terrible, brilliant secret. It was a plan born of rage and faith, a plan to reshape a nation with a single, deafening roar. These were not common criminals. They were gentlemen, men of property, men of conviction. Robert Catesby was their heart, a man of intense charisma. His words were like sparks in dry tinder. He gathered others to his cause: Thomas Wintour, Jack Wright, Thomas Percy, and a soldier who understood explosives. His name was Guy Fawkes, the instrument of their design, the hand that would light the fuse. They swore an oath of secrecy upon a prayer book. The target was Parliament, not just the building, the institution, the king, his queen, his heir, the lords, the bishops, the commons, the Protestant establishment in one place, at one time. The plan was brutal in its simplicity. They would annihilate, strike at the very head of the kingdom, Their first attempts were clumsy. They tried to dig a tunnel from a nearby house. The earth was stubborn, the walls were thick, the work backbreaking. Their digging became the drumbeat of intent, a sound they feared would betray them. Fortune intervened. A cellar became available beneath the House of Lords. They moved under cover of night. Barrels, so many barrels. Hidden under firewood and coal, one by one, the cellar filled. 36 barrels of gunpowder, enough to obliterate the chamber above, to shake the city to its core. Fawkes, the craftsman of destruction, knew each cask's potential. The cellar became their waiting room, a tomb of ambition smelling of damp stone and black powder. They waited for months. Parliament postponed. Tension stretched thin. The waiting was a torment, a slow burn, as days bled into weeks, weeks into months. Above them, the city lived on, oblivious. Fawkes would be the watchman, the last man in the cellar. He had his match. He had his watch. He had his resolve. In the silence, one could almost hear the thunder to come, a low cello promising violence coiled in the dark. All great plans have a weakness, a single loose thread. For the gunpowder plot, it was conscience, perhaps Francis Tresham. A warning had to be sent, an anonymous letter, vague but clear. Monteagle was puzzled, then alarmed. He took it to Robert Cecil, the king's spy master of whispered treason. It reached the king himself. A terrible blow. He pictured not a fight, but an explosion of gunpowder. Search the Palace of Westminster. The first search found only firewood and a calm servant, John Johnson. This was Guy Fawkes, in alias. But the king was not satisfied. A second search, after midnight. They returned to the cellar. They pulled back the firewood and found the powder. They found Guy Fawkes, carrying a slow match and a watch. The plot was over, not with a bang, but with the quiet click of a cellar door and footsteps on stone. The silence of the night was broken, not by an explosion, but by the news. It spread like a fever. Fear turned to relief, relief to fury. Guy Fawkes was taken to the Tower of London. He was defiant at first, offering only his false name. Under torture, he broke, he revealed himself, and the plan. He named his co-conspirators. The manhunt began. Catesby and Percy were cornered at Holbetcher House. A gun battle erupted. They fell, and others with them. The survivors were captured, tried for high treason. The verdict was never in doubt. They were hanged, drawn, and quartered. A brutal end to a brutal plan. The consequences were swift. Harsher laws followed. The persecution they hoped to end only deepened. The 5th of November became celebration. Bonfires were lit. Effigies of Fawkes fed the flames. A tradition was born. Parliament endured. But the nation's psyche was scarred. A quiet reminder of how near the abyss came. Each year, as bonfires burn, the echo returns. Remember, returns.